Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a magnificent guest with us today, a recurring guest, someone who is family to many of us, and we're just honored to have you. He's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the student, Southern Regional Minister, Minister Abdul Sharrieff Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
No, so no, you
I'm doing phenomenal, sir. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. The first question that we have for you today, sir, is okay. Well, man, we got so many questions. And thank you all for everyone who's has all your comments and your texts. Does the 29 years since the May Man March, does it seem that long ago?
first of all, Josh, let me give you Assalamu alaikum.
Like, come on, sir.
Yes, it's an honor to come on the show. Thank you for inviting me. I know you flew me in from both seas to come here today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just a little levity. But now, it seems like the 29 years went so fast.
Mm.
Man, if I could do them all over again, I would love to do the Me Man March again.
Okay, friends, we
Yes,
too. Wonderful. And we're going to come right back to those. We have so many questions about the Meme and March. But just the day before yesterday, I was speaking with you, with your daughter, Miriam, Rashad, your son, Rashad, dealing with you having to report to the minister and always being like that being your role. And that's why he named you Sharrieff, being the lawman. And one time, the Final Call building had to get shut down. Can you let us know what took place?
yes, sir. That was a long time ago. And it was just really getting in the beginning stage, getting started. But there was some internal things that was going on, so theft was taking place, and I found out about it. And I was in D.C., but I informed Honorable Louis Farrakhan what was going on, and he checked it out and found out that it was true. And he closed the Final Call down. People can remember back in those days, Final Call was closed down for over 30 days.
Mm.
But then he cleaned it up and got it straight, and then he opened it back up. But that's true story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And when you tell and report things to the minister, are you ever nervous that the people are going to get upset with you and want to hold grudges for like years after that?
No, during the time I was doing what he said, I didn't care. I'm gonna be honest with you. When my leader teacher guy give me instructions, I carry them up to the letter best I can. Don't care. Whatever the fallout is, so be it. God is real.
All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And Sister Naima says, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, Naima. All right, wonderful. Second, I have been, Tupac has been trending in the media a lot lately, so I've been watching a lot of Suge. Okay, wait, Dad. Milani says, "Hey, Pop Pop, she's waving to you."
Oh, my pretty.
Yes, sir. So I've been watching a lot of Suge Knight documentaries and interviews with people on different channels. Could you let us know your experience with Suge Knight?
My experience with Suge Knight back in the days is that he's always, to me, he was always an upstanding man.
Yes, sir.
And he just was firm in what he believed in. And he just dealt the way he dealt. And I ain't had no but respect for him. That's all. The nice Suge Knight.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Hopefully, one of these days I get to interview Suge Knight. So it's on my list. Yes, sir. We also spoke about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan going to see a seer. Can you let us know how was that?
Oh, that was in New York back in the days. We used to go and when we went to New York, the minister used to always stay at Sister Karima's brother's house. And I forgot her name, but she was a well-known seer.
Mm.
The minister when he used to go there, he used to let her read. And then he used to let some of the security around him, she would read them.
Mm.
And she used to be just right on point. Whatever she said, it used to be right on point. So, but she never read me.
Mm.
I just always observed. But she was on point with,
Yeah.
with the things that she said.
Beautiful, yes, sir. And when you saw the minister do that type of stuff and be spiritual miracles and be in that world, how did that help you develop your spirituality and your wanting to grow from in the spiritual world?
Well, I watched the minister back in the days when it started, and I always watched him close up. And God allowed me to be close to him. And I used to watch everything the minister said. I used to study it, and they would come true no matter what it was.
Yes,
No
sir.
matter what the odds was against him, no matter what the Jews was against him, he never wavered from the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
All praises
And
to
that's
that.
what got him strong off his faith by the grace of God coming up.
Excellent. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Speaking of the early days in his faith, you told us a story of someone who owed the minister $25,000. Can you let us know what that was like?
Oh, now he owed the nation
Nathan,
25,000.
25,000. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I first went up to show you the character of the minister. And people don't know this, the kind of character that the minister have. I mean, his character is impeccable from the beginning. I was young coming up, and I was just coming up to be the supreme captain. And this gentleman, I won't call his name at that time, it took 25,000 from the nation. And in the conversation, the minister told me about it, but I'm just getting started. I'm not well trained at that time. I'm being trained. So I went to collect.
Yes, sir.
After
Yes,
I
sir.
heard Mr. Tell me to do it, I did that on my own.
Yes, sir.
I went to collect. And when I went down to his office downtown, you know, I asked him, do you have the money? He said, no, I don't have the money. We just went past it to the secretary. And we asked him for the money. And the man was afraid. And I didn't care nothing about that. I came to get the nation money at that time. And the man he grabbed his phone and he called the minister on me. I was in his office. And then put me on speakerphone and the minister asked. And I spoke to the minister. The minister just said, just as kind as, brother, what are you doing? I said, I came to collect the money. He said, come on back to the office. But showing you the character of the minister, he didn't want me to. That was on me.
Yes,
he
sir.
didn't want me to do no harm to nobody. He was just informing me. But I was getting ready to be honest. I'm going to throw that man but say this guy. So if he's listening, you know I'm telling the truth. But
Yes, sir.
the character of the minister, that's not what he wanted. He trained us to do that. That was my development. I had to learn. That's not the way you do business. So I learned from that. So thank Allah for the minister
Yes,
and
sir.
God.
Oh, praise be to Allah. And maybe says Assalamualaikum, Daddy and Josh. Walaikum salam. Okay, perfect. Yes, sir. Now, one of the number one viewerships on the People's Podcast, I was last with Mimi Naima Rashad, is the prison stories. Uh, that's like a lot of people come to People's Podcast, watch how people came out the nation and got reformed. But besides that, in questions with the minister, is the reality of the mother plane, the baby plane. That's something that you have experienced. You wrote a book about it. And could you let us know about the time where you were dealing in a limo, Brother Minister Jabril, the minister, and y'all going to Mexico, Mother Tynetta? Can you let us know about that?
I'll give a brief to you.
Yes, sir.
We went to Mexico on a trip. Mother Tynetta had invited the minister to come to Mexico. The minister went to Mexico to meet this, I would say, this scientist that had said he had been on the plane. So when we got to Mexico, we went to Mother Tynetta's house, and when it was time, it was late in the afternoon. We had to, because we know people was following us everywhere we go. We went through Alice and back to Alice and moved and went up to this person's house in Mexico. And we all went in, and the gentleman he was fair skinned. I don't recall his name. I wish I wrote it down, but I don't know who he is to this very day. I don't know who he was, but I was in the room with him, and he was telling the minister about how he had been up on the plane. And on the plane, he was telling the minister the conversation he had on the plane. Because I was on security, I was back and forth on moving, but I was trying to listen as well. But I'm saying the minister stayed there for hours listening to him. And he told stories about the plane, how not only one time he visited, but he had visited more than once. This is what I heard from all ears. And this story never was told, so I'm going to leave it right there. But I know the planes exist and they're real.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. That Mimi said, thank you. You're telling great history. She said, also, can you speak up a little bit because she wanted to be able to hear you while she was driving?
Of course.
Yes, sir. Okay, so Dad, so you hear these stories about like your own security. You hear a man saying that he went visited this and that. How did that affect your belief system and spiritual? Did that make you stronger, or how did that make you feel?
Yeah, that endeared me stronger, knowing that the teaching of Honorable Elijah Muhammad at that time and this time and through the Honorable Farrakhan is real.
Yes, sir.
And no matter whether people believe it or not, I'm gonna tell the truth. I ain't no reason to lie. Telling the truth by the grace of God.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. And people are showing you love all around the world, Dad. Thank you, Brother Vincent Foley. Assalamu alaikum, salam, black gods, scientists, caliphs, imams, leaders. Be born and be blessed. Thank you, sir. Thank you to our YouTube family, Brother Kente, Brother Musa, Brother Daniel E, Sister Hope, Sister Auntie, everyone who shows love on YouTube as well. Okay, Dad, I also wanted to ask you, okay, we're coming to the Main Man March questions. Thank you all, everyone who is showing love to student Minister Abdul Sharrieff Muhammad. We truly appreciate it. The men's only meetings leading up to the Main Man March. How was that? You seeing all of these men in different cities, and of course, I've interviewed other members of the F team, and they told from their perspectives of each region, trying to sell the tickets and things like that. How did that? How did you handle that? Were you nervous with all these men coming, and you were responsible for security?
No, not necessarily nervous, but I always prayed and my faith was strong that Allah was going to protect his servant, and as he's always done.
Yes, sir.
But I'm always, I say, edging until I get the minister in to where he's going and back safely to his hotel room. And always observing and watching. Never put my guard down by the grace of God.
Mm.
But I want to say this to your audience about the Honorable Farrakhan. To see all those men in every city come out.
Yes, sir.
And to see the sisters bring their husbands, put them out, and put their sons out to come hear this man of God. See, just to feel that emotion and that spirit is really extraordinary. But Donald Blues Farrakhan told me one day when we was in a hotel in New York, LA, no, LA, I think it was Los Angeles. He was at the window, he called me over and looked out the window and saw the crowd wrapped around the building. And he said, brother, you see those people? He said, I don't know them, but they know of me. He said, only Allah God could put the love in their hearts for me.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, Lord, don't forget that, brothers and sisters. It's a principle that he was teaching me. And some of us think that we go someplace and people come out to see us. We think it's us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't
yes, sir.
get it twisted. If God don't put the love in the heart for the people for us, they won't come. So remember, no matter whatever the minister did, he always said, all praise belongs to Allah. Don't forget that.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. And we're leaving it. And thank you, everyone who was watching. Thank you, Sister Mimi says, thank you for this great history and your legendary perspective. Walaikum salam, Sister Katina. And thank you, everyone who was watching all around the world. Jamaica. We spoke before we came and before we went live, dealing with you and Brother Akil being in Jamaica. Can you let us know that story, sir?
Yeah, briefly. We was in Jamaica and it was raining and raining. And the minister had engagement. And we really didn't have no security over there. We were secured around the minister. But when the minister got to go speak, so it was up. I said, okay, Brother Akil. And Brother Musa stayed with his father. Brother Akil and I, we went to check. We checked over 3,000 people. Just him and I. Because the people came out to hear the minister. And we was FOI to the day we died.
Yes, sir.
Mighty
yes,
sir. Praise.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And that now, of course, you know you got to go domestic, but then also foreign. When you were overseas, did that make your senses get heightened when you were over there in Jamaica and it's plantings and talls, all that stuff, and everybody speaking a different language or dialect? Did that make it different than being in America?
Yes, it did. And it was very stressful overseas because they literally wanted to kill the Honorable Farrakhan on foreign soil. But Allah is God. And I'm telling you, I think I told you story before. They show you the character of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. That's what I want you. Don't y'all ever forget that. When we was in Ghana, and at that time, Gaddafi had his soldiers securing us over there. And when we got a chance to talk to them, they offered us weapons while we was over there. And you know what the weapon? The minister, we went to sit down and talk to the minister. The minister said to us, he said, the same God that protected us in America, he will protect us over here. That was the weapons. I mean, the minister, his faith is so strong in Master and all the life, no matter where he was.
Yes, sir.
That's what he demonstrated. That's why I learned from my leader, teaching guide, Dr. Bruce Farrakhan. That's right.
All praise to a lot of people and bear witness all around the world. Thank you all very much. We're coming right back to the Million Man March Questions 29-year anniversary. Happy Holy Day of Atonement to everyone who was watching. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors. Please let us know which city and state that you all are watching. One moment. We're coming right back to Student Minister Sharrieff Muhammad. Thank you very much, Dad. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go. Commercials coming on. All right, boom. And there are a lot of people showing love. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. We are live with the People's Podcast. Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of that. Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Boom. Excellent. We are right back. As well as S Enterprise, barber and beauty products. They have a plant-based brush wave company. Their website is kosherwave.com, 770-997-6000. Please reach out to Brother Jeffrey Sirsi Muhammad, Sister Stephanie Lasan Muhammad with kosherwave.com. Make sure you all go and support all of the sponsors. We're right back. Thank you to everyone who was watching. Sister Minister Aisha from Phoenix says, greetings, family. Greetings, ma'am. Happy Holy Day. Thank you for the brother watching from Dallas, Texas. Excellent. Okay, speaking of Sister Minister Aisha, she was married to Captain Waleed with the bean pies, the dean of the judges of the drill competition. What was it like being around him during the 80s and the 90s?
Well, he was one of the greatest captains in the nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
Great everybody. I love Brother Waleed because he was not only a captain, he was an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he bring that bean pie and make it known, especially throughout the celebrities throughout LA, but that pink box.
All praise to yes, sir. And whenever I would go visit Asada and Rashad in Phoenix, people always talk about his son now sells the bean pie as well. So the son is keeping the legacy.
Keep it going, bro.
Yes, all praise to Allah. Captain Dennis is watching. He said, "Want to thank your father for his leadership during the Million Man March. And the truth be told, it started from New York City." Thank you, Captain Dennis. Yes, sir. Captain Dennis. He said the same thing.
Yes, my man. Praise be to. But now let me straighten this, brother Captain Dennis.
Yes, sir.
Be put some respect on that name.
Yes, sir.
All right, Cap.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we're coming. Of course, we have questions about him and the other members of the F team. I wanted to ask you 8 steps of atonement during the 29 years. Have you ever had to apply atonement in your personal life?
Yes, and I had when it started down the podcast, sent me out to every region. I had to go out to every region and atone because during that time there's a lot of stuff going on, and he wanted all the laborers to atone in the city, and someone was reluctant. So I went out and I atoned first, and then they saw the response, and then they all came up and atoned to the mosque, and you saw nothing but love. And everything the minister told me before I did it, he said once. He said, what? Once you go and atone, and the laborers atone, because the believers want love. And that's all we showed me. Once they atoned, they was crying. Oh, everything Louis Farrakhan they ever told me, and all until right now, That ain't nothing but the truth. So help me, Allah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, great. And I can bear witness to your time in Atlanta, seeing you open the doors to your office and having people come and do surveys and you saying, what can I do better? And you sitting with people and atoning with them publicly, privately. It's something that I'm working on. Something I'm working on, but I know that's a part of, following the Messiah and especially you all being disciples, walking with him and representing him in various cities. But how do you handle atoning with people who done you wrong?
Well, one of the first thing I was just we have to learn how to get the ego under control. Because there's a book I call it, Ego is the Enemy. I would suggest that everybody get a chance, get that book and read it. It helped me so much and it helped so many.
Yes, sir.
The ego is the enemy. So before you want to atone, because most things, if you find people that don't want to atone, you can trace it right back to the ego.
Yes, sir.
And just like I always say when I used to go and travel around with my wife and do fighting for your marriages, I said I can track any divorce back to ego. I don't care who you are. I'll say it again. I can track any divorce back to ego. It was this involved on both sides, not just one side, on both sides. And before you can really atone to someone, you have to be humble. And Honorable Louis Farrakhan is our example. All the power that he had, a very humble. And that's why my second chronicle is mine. If my people,
yes, sir,
called by my name,
yes, sir,
well, what? Humble themselves and then pray, not pray and then humble then pray.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So we have to be willing to humble in order to atone with anybody. That's what I was.
All praise. So yes, sir. People will bear witness all around the world. My next question is: speaking of the sisters, what was some of the behind the scenes roles of the women in helping to make the Million Man March successful?
The women played a very critical part in making the Million Man March successful, because they didn't just start at the day of the Million Man March doing things. Everywhere the minister went, they had to secure the sister side when he was talking to both sides. And then even when he was talking just to the men, especially in Atlanta, the sisters, when he was talking to men only, sister dressed up as a man to get in. And that's how the people don't know that. That's how when he went back out and spoke to women only.
Yes, sir.
Because
yes, sir.
the sisters wanted to get in the door. So bad to hear him. And then after we, brother really enjoyed that one. They did and then we brought her to the room later on that night, and the sister spoke to the minister and told her, why don't you speak to the sisters? And that's how that became for the minister to go speak to women on.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Sisters played a very critical part in the Million Man March. And I want to especially my wife.
Yes, sir.
I want to say that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. People are bearing witness saying beautiful, excellent. Shout out to Sister Sharrieff Muhammad. Thank you. Shout out to Mama. All right, now I wanted to ask you, speaking of the role of the sisters and the role of the women, I see Mimi and Naima text me as soon as I woke up this morning, people who were showing the Million Man March, but then showing Rosa Parks and other, activist women who were there, people who wanted to help. How important was the celebrities' support to the Million Man March being a success?
I think, for the most part, for those that wasn't afraid, they really helped.
Okay.
But some were afraid, still afraid. Yes, but sir. There was some that was all for it, I would say.
All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. Now, the picture was many pictures, but Mayor Marion Barry being with the minister at the Million Man March in Washington, D.C., the minister supporting him and showing nothing but love, regardless of the controversies and, whatever. How important was that to the success of the Million Man March, and how important was that for you to see the minister show love to Marion Barry no matter what?
Well, I will say this. It taught me very valuable lesson about following the instructions of Honorable Louis Farrakhan. The three things he told me when he sent me to the South. He said, patient, long suffering, and take plenty. And if you're not willing to do that, get out of black people's business. Because the main one you help is going to turn on you. But you still expect it to take a cursing and give back a blessing. Now, you got to be something like extraordinary, but then it's possible. Because I watched Honorable Louis Farrakhan take it. I watched Marion Barrett when we was in D.C. I watched Marion Barrett repudiate the minister. But the minister took it, long suffering, and he took plenty. And then look how it flipped when it came time for the $1 Million Man March, because the minister never said nothing negative about my brother Marion Barrett, not his family. And it was time for him to help. The minister said it himself. If it wasn't for Marion Barrett, the $1 Million Man March wouldn't not happen. He opened the city up for the minister. Praise be to God. And I would like to say this again, John, to everybody that listens. These 3 points that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan gave me when he sent me here, you have to be patient, long suffering, and take plenty, or get out of black people's business if you expect to lift them up because of the condition that we are in. So if you're not willing to do those 3 things, leave black people alone, because they're going to prove that they're black. Praise be to God.
Praise be to yes, sir. And that's also something I tell to the sisters who are interested in talking to me. You have to take plenty, you won't suffer. Same principles, yes, sir. Same principles, yes, sir. All right, yes, sir. I wanted to earlier. I posted a clip of Brother Kamal, of course, the messenger's son and former national secretary, but he was the chief financial officer of the $1 Million Man March, and he was talking about being only 35 during the $1 Million Man March and the pressure that was placed upon him. What was it like working with him, and how important was his role and the roles of the other secretaries around the nation to the success of the $1 Million Man March?
Let me tell you something. I had nothing but respect for Brother Kamal. Brother Kamal, you imagine that he's the chief financial officer over the $1 Million Man March. So he had to make sure all that money get collected.
Yes, sir.
And all that money be accounted for. Then he had to bring in all the secretaries from around the country, but yet he still needed extra people to get the money. To this very day, I know you all want to know, how did we get that money from the mall to where we took it? It's still unknown to most people. But Brother Kamal was in charge of all of that. And not one penny was missing. Think about it, all his whole staff.
Yes, sir. All good spirit, $1 Million Man March. People are bearing witness all around the country. And yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Brother Vincent. And thank you, Sister Miriam and Sister Naima, Sister Sandra, R. Muhammad. Thank you, everyone who was watching, and continue to show love. Yes, sir. My next question for you was, you going to Washington, D.C. in advance, months before the $1 Million Man March. How did that come about? And what was that like in order to help make the march successful?
Honorable Louis Farrakhan sent me in 6 months in advance. So I moved to DC for 6 months because we had to get the ground troops moving. Because see, when the minister started off, and I don't want y'all to forget this now, when the minister started off, a lot of people didn't believe that it was going to happen. So the minister had to use his base, the ground troop, the mighty FOI, the crime list. Don't y'all forget that now. I'll always take my hat off to the FOI and the captains especially, because they responded with that good teaching that came from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And we was on the ground and we went to work. And the sisters helped us in that part too, because they passed out flyers and they did that. So we all worked together. See, a lot of people think that the $1 Million Man March just happened. We didn't have no Facebook, we ain't had no FaceTime, we ain't had no Instagram, we had none of that. But the key, and none of you ever forget what the Honorable Louis Farrakhan brought to the equation through his teaching, is we had God. Don't forget
that. Yes, sir. And speaking of that, the minister would bring you on stage after Savior's Day, like 10 years later, 15 years later, and talk about how he was willing to die with his people. And he told you, can you let us know about him saying that he didn't want to be taken away if something happened? And for that pressure to be applied to you, responsibility to be applied to you, how did you handle that?
See, two ways. One, just to know that my leader and teacher was nothing but the truth, so help you Allah. He told us and gave an order to me at that time. If anything happened, I'm going down with my people and we'll die. Now, I don't know no leader on the planet that would say that. Get me out of here as fast as you can. Not Donald Louis Farrakhan. He said it publicly and he meant it. I'm dying today. If something happened, I'm going down and I'm fighting with my brothers today.
Yes,
and
sir.
We'll die together.
Well,
but he knew the Master Farad Muhammad, and I realized Mama gonna let him die. But just the fact that he said it and meant that, that's a lot of pressure. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful. And excellent people are bearing witness. Thank you. And people saying that's right. All praise to Allah. Thank you, New Islam. Thank you. Don't forget it. Thank you, Mimi. And Captain Dennis said your father knew every part of what took place, every department, every soldier, every city, every law enforcement. Your father knew it all, and he did his job well. All praise to Allah.
Thank you, Big D.
Yes,
praise
sir.
be to Allah.
Okay, now let's speak of the F team and Captain Curtis, Captain Akil, Captain Dennis, but Student Supreme Captain.
I'm in Texas.
What's his name? I got his name, but yes, sir, the captain out of Texas, yes, sir, from the West Coast, Miami. All of these brothers. How important was that group for the military and for the military?
It was very important. Those brothers that really see that's like the untold story.
Yes, sir.
Those are the core group right there that heard and they obeyed. I got it from the minister, carried it out to them, then they carried it out. And I'm telling you, that group right there, man, I wish we could have a family reunion. One day we're going to have a family reunion with those brothers and let them tell these things. Because they did a magnificent job. Now, I'll die on that, but I want to live.
Yes, sir. All praise to Allah. Brother Khalil.
Yeah, that's right, Brother Khalil. Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. Now I wanted to ask you, the minister did a lot of training. I mean, we're doing a lot of media and press during the Million Man March. How did you observe that, and how have you applied that in your ministry all these years later with studying the minister and how he handled the media?
I learned from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and all those years about the press. If you allow the press to make you, they can break you. Mm-hmm. They didn't make the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and that's why they can't break you. And I watched and I learned that. And that's why you don't see me running to the media. You're very fortunate to give me the. I don't do that because I don't need that. I just love doing behind the scenes work and let my work speak for me. And that's what I love. But I watched Honorable Louis Farrakhan masterfully disarm all the media, that everybody they sent to him. Smack them down. No problem at all. Mama, praise be to.
Yes, sir. And then I wanted to ask about how important was the final call, the actual paper, as well as the staff and the building and the structure leading up to the Million Man March. How important was that media?
Oh, that was very good because we at one point we printed a million copies of that paper to get it out in the hands of our people. And the final call, the baddest, the boldest newspaper on the planet to this very day.
Yes, sir.
And don't you all forget it. Buy the final call when you see it. Get it?
Get it. So, yes, sir. My next question. Okay, boom. My next question is, I was speaking, Brother Phil called me last night, and he was telling me about how you always had a trust for him, Brother Troy, and many of the believers to be around Mom and our family when you were handling business with the minister. What makes you? And then I started reflecting on Brother Randy in Chicago, Brother John, and so many names. Thank you to all of them. But what made you trust the FOY when you've gone for 6 months to make sure that nothing, especially in the 90s, to make sure that nothing happened to your wife and family while you were on the road?
Because of the character that the Uncle Louis Farrakhan instilled in us and instilled in the brothers that was around at that time. Those brothers had character.
Mm.
And I saw their character and I trusted them. The help of Allah. That's what their character.
Excellent. Thank you all to the mighty FOY, and of course all the sisters. But shout out to the FOY for being around our family and being around all the families while the men were on the road with the Messiah. Praise be to Allah. Dad, I wanted to ask you. The minister spoke about how the first term Barack Obama, he had dark hair. By the second term, his hair got gray because of all of the stress of that role. And I want to interview I want to interview Donald Trump, and I'm going to ask him. I really want to ask him. I want to say, you saw all the secrets, everything the first term, and then you go back and you apply for the second term after you know everything. So it made me think about you. A lot of people want to be in Hollywood or politics or the military or the ministry or be in the nation because they don't know the actual work and the grind that it takes. But you've seen it all. No longer the spring captain, did this, no longer Captain DC, do all of this. And every year you still sign up to put the FY uniform on, sign up, salute the minister, say, I'm ready to fall back in and help. After everything you've been through, all the ups and downs, what makes you keep going, signing up for another term?
Because I took my life, my death, ALL, all for Allah.
Yes, sir.
I didn't sign that for a post. Mm-hmm. I signed to God that I came to serve and help his servant and my people. And that I'm an FOI to the day I die. No people do. Please.
All praises to Allah. And thank you very much that so many people are showing you love. Also, we got three more questions, and we're good to go. Thank you, everyone who's showing love all around the world. We truly appreciate it. I would like to complete. I got one more interview, maybe two more interviews with you, inshallah, and then I will have compiled the book of Sharrieff with all of the interviews that we've done to pass to your children and your great-grandchildren. Do you reflect on, do you ever get time by yourself to reflect on your life and to see how generation after generation you live, of course, through your work, but also through your family?
I think about that often, but I want to say publicly because this is recorded. Josh, I give you all the right. The right, my book, do whatever you want to do to help the family, yourself and the family. You don't need me to be here to tell you. I'm putting it on camera and you can show it to the world. All right, so yes, we got that clear. Yes, sir. All right. Beautiful. Now, but yeah, I reflect often. But I mean, I see his word and I don't mean it loosely. When it comes to the nation, this time under the leadership of Uncle Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Beautiful. People are bearing witness all around the world. So thank you. That's right, Sister Naya, Sister Sandra, says FOY. Thank you, Sister Naima. Thank you, Brother Vincent, Foley, Indeed, and all to our YouTube family as well. I wanted to ask you, Dad, about, we're approaching 20 years in Atlanta, which is wild. I wouldn't even know that exactly. Call me and say that. He was like, bro, Dad's on 20 years anniversary. So that means we have been in Atlanta longer than any other city with you and your work. So on behalf of myself and the family, viewing audience, we want to thank you for your hard work and dedication to all of the cities all around the world, but primarily in Atlanta. But shout out to all the Atlanta believers and everyone who's been kind to us. But what has been one of the greatest takeaways of you being in Atlanta for 20 years, almost 20 years?
Okay, let me tell you this first. When the minister called me, I had no idea I was coming this way. But when he called me into his office and told me, I'm sending you to Atlanta. And he was firm that morning. And you got 90 days to turn it around. You out of here. Whoa. Yes, sir. I came to Atlanta and we can never forget the great brother Rockman. Never forget him and the work that he did in this city. And believe me, and I want to do another shout out to Brother Darrell and Sister Nasaba because they allowed me to stay in their house. I was thankful for them. But the greatest, I would say, takeaway from this is that when I came in on the Uncle Louis Farrakhan word, I knew I had 90 days. And what person you know get 90 days on job under that kind of pressure. And God blessed me by following his instruction to come to the city, humble, stand on Brother Rockmine's shoulder, and reach out for those around. And we went to work. See, I ain't coming here playing. Came here and went to work. Hit the street, final corner, went to work. FYI, to the day I fruit is the best.
Oh, praise to so yes, sir. Beautiful. Okay, that and speaking of the student laborers with you, I last weekend interviewed Brother Mandine, and I made sure that I told him that your children keep lists of all the people who help us now, but also helped us when times were rough, and we thank your brother Munir. And you always said that student regional captain Oliver as well helped out the family when times got rough. When you had to, through the ups and downs of our lives and of your life, reach out to people. What impact did that have on you to have real believers that actually helped you in your low points?
Well, I'm telling you, brother, people don't know that Brother McDean may have known. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
One of the times it was Brother Munir. He helped me during one of the critical times financially. I'm talking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he didn't even hesitate. And he showed me nothing but brotherhood. Well, God, what other people felt, he showed me nothing but brotherhood. And I thank Allah for Brother Munir and his whole people.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Now, because you went through that, have you ever had to do the same for others because you know what it feels like to be?
Oh, yes. My whole life service is that. Even up to the day.
Yes, sir.
I help. I help people. And that old saying from they used to say, old folks say this, it's best to give than to receive.
Yes, sir.
Because when you give, you do receive.
Praise be to Allah.
So I do nothing like that. I watch Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and I try my best to follow him as close as I can. He helps so many. And we don't even know half who he helped. And I do the same thing. I just help people because it's the right thing to do.
Yes, sir.
So I say to all of those that's watching, you don't have no reason to walk around with your head hung down. Master Muhammad is real. Walk with your head up. Down is not out. Down is preparation for up. So says the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I bear witness that there ain't nothing but the truth. Down is not out. Down is preparation for up.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And speaking of that, 2 days, October 18th, I ordered my cap and gown. So my graduation will be December 14th, inshallah. So I want you to have that same giving spirit for the
yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Mimi says dad is one of the most charitable people she knows. And Sister Sandra Muhammad says spontaneous good. Praise be to Allah. Captain Dennis says it was your father that had helped employ most of the fruit with NOI security.
So thank you, Big D, for reminding those. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, speaking of that, I know that my history that Captain Dennis had security company with the X-Men brothers. You had brothers all around the country that had security companies. NOI security was the trailblazing going into that. How important was it to have independent security companies for you to financially to be able to move around and as well as have the other FOI to move around?
But economic is so important for the FOI, especially. Those are for the MGT too.
Yes, sir.
But for the FOI, they need money so they can bring in things that they want for their family. So we have to provide economics. But then there's a book that Donald Blues Farrakhan told us to read. It's called The Economic Hitman. That book, you should get it and read it and then see what they have done to, especially to the Nation of Islam, especially because there's a hit from on high that they don't want us to ever really get back what we once had as a past economically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, that never happened before in world history. That the United States government brought in a security company before Congress. Never heard of before. They brought us in NOI security. Why? Because they wanted to dismantle it, and they did work for them to dismantle it because they never wanted us to ever be economically strong. And NOI security employed thousands. And they was taking care of their families. But Our enemy didn't kill. I'm killing by black people. They didn't stop that. They destroyed it. And they brought the whole government against us. When you go and read the book that the minister just put out about the lawsuit,
Yes,
all
sir.
that's in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The government came against NOICQ. And we want to ask them, why y'all not doing that? Because we have the government against us and we got to work through because God is magnificent, though.
Yes, sir. I was young, and I thank a lot for you and the believers, everyone who worked to do that. So we reaped the benefits, but didn't fully understand how important NOI security was as children. But when I came to Atlanta with you, so many believers told me, "Man, for 4 years I worked for your dad, and my little, this helped me put my children through school. I helped did this with this. Man, I worked for your father. I worked for," so that's always good, especially as a grown man who doesn't work for himself and works for another company. I'm like, man, y'all had a nation company? Y'all was working about that. So that's beautiful to see. Anytime I hear people who have independent, entrepreneurship with name Muhammad, I think that's beautiful. So I really salute you all and shout out to all the entrepreneurs around the country and around the world who are doing for self. Praise be to Allah. Okay, Dad, one last question. What are some of the things that you were watching to unwind, something funny or just something that when you're not being, ministerial mode today?
What's
some of the things you watch on TV, like to laugh, to relax when you're in relaxed mode?
I like to watch the different brothers that tell jokes.
Okay, stand-ups. Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Okay.
I watched it.
Okay, great. Shout out to all the stand-up comics because they always want to show people that you can be very serious, but there's also another side where people watch comedies and movies. Some of the guests that I've interviewed that you'd be surprised who listen to country music to relax and all kind of stuff. You'd be like, you just never know. So yes,
I was looking. I just got people playing Fight Night.
Fight Night, yes sir, yes sir. Yeah, I haven't started yet because I've been watching Penguin, but Mimi and I ain't been to keep telling me, you gotta watch Fight Night, you gotta watch Fight Night. So we will watch it. Mimi said when you're not watching CNN.
She had right.
And Brother Vincent is saying the Economic Hitman book, he will make sure that he's going to get it out of Dallas, Texas.
Oh, yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. As well as that, your books that I promoted doing a sponsorship, but as well as your book dealing with the reality, the mother plane and the baby plane connection, minister, and all that.
If you get it, get it.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, this has been great. I want to thank everyone. Thank you, Sister Sandra R. Muhammad. She said, yes, sir. She loves comedy as well. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Thank you, Sister Dejan. Thank you, Brother Captain Dennis. Thank you to everyone who has shown love. 29 years since the Mean Man March. One last question for you, Dad. This is a question I asked one of the brothers from New York who was with Captain Dennis, and then his son drilled with me. And I always asked him, and I interviewed him and the other children of the people who were around the Mean Man March. Do you think that we will get a chance? Seems like no, but I'm still going to ask you anyway. To ever get how y'all had the Mean Man March. Do you think that we'll get an opportunity to have something that's our chance to put our life on the line in the stand and the Capitol and the men's? I mean, because it seemed like it's over, but I'm just saying for us, do you think that we'll ever get a chance because we were too young, during your time?
Well, you never know what the future might bring.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But there'll never be another Mean Man March like that. That was one in a lifetime. Now, another big event, it may happen. I don't know. But I wish something would happen so you all get an opportunity to do that.
All right. Going to school it is. Okay. Because apparently we don't get uniforms. And there are people who literally I've interviewed Brother Isaiah from Houston, Rashidi from Houston, his dad. Mm-hmm. And he was saying how they were having a dinner before the Mean Man March, saying they were going away, not knowing if they were coming home. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, you don't have nothing. We like once in a while said that, so Allah's the best knower, so whatever. But I always wanted to follow in your footsteps, and many FOI wanted to have the opportunity to be in the Mean Man March time period. So you all are blessed beyond you more than you ever know that you all are connected and help to do something as monumental as the Mean Man March. So salute to all of the FOI, and salute to you, Dad. Captain Deshane says all praise to Allah. His training is the reason most of us are still here working with faith. Praise be to Allah. Thank you all for your kind words. Shout out to our YouTube family. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Love you, Dad.
Love you, son.
Love you all. Thank you all for watching. Assalamu alaikum. One second.